Fantastic drive from Eduardo Mortara. He crosses the line to win in Marrakesh and move to the top of the championship.
Yes, after that scorching win in Morocco just 2 weeks ago, Eduardo Mortara is the man to beat as Formula E reaches the business end of the season. There are 6 races remaining, starting with a doubleheader here in New York City on the streets of Brooklyn, set against the stunning backdrop of the Manhattan skyline. Now, there were just a handful of points separating the top 4 drivers, so this is going to be a crucial weekend in that race for the title.
We go electric.
Formula E is coming to town.
And now Evans is defending. Checker flag falls. Jaguar win in New York City.
Hot dogs, get your hot dogs!
What a victory. Stoffel Van Dorn. Ferrari has the championship lead. Verne is champion again.
Checkmate.
So exciting to be back here in New York City, a city so good they named it twice. And I'm delighted to say that joining me now is international commentator Jack Nicholls and the Scotsman who made his name on American soil, 3-time Indy 500 winner Dario Franchitti. Welcome, guys. New York City says it all, really. We just love coming here. The drivers, the paddock, everyone.
So good we race it twice.
That is
race
even
today,
better.
race tomorrow.
Oh,
Really
very
looking
good,
forward
very
to it. I mean, we're lucky enough to go to so many amazing cities around the world, but everybody here, as we all pile onto the grid ahead of the race, looks forward to this one, maybe the most.
Dario, would you agree with that one?
I would,
good
absolutely.
to be back on American soil.
It's a wonderful backdrop, isn't it? It's such a great city to be in at any time, but it's more important today what's going to happen here on this track, this little bull ring, 2.3 kilometers. It's dusty, it's bumpy, it's a tight circuit. There's some of the championship contenders out of position, and I think it's going to be a really physical, aggressive race today.
We're really back to the roots of Formula E, aren't we? It's a proper street circuit and consequently brings up all the challenges that a street circuit does. Jack, what do you think? I suppose we've got to keep an eye out for. The temperature isn't quite as hot as we predicted it was going to be.
Well, the challenge is going to be a physical one out there in terms of the physicality of the racing and the driving, because you've got many drivers in this field who need to make up places, who need to get through the order. It's pretty tough to overtake here on this circuit, so I think that's going to be the most interesting thing today, because it's really starting to matter now. Every race matters. Dario will tell you, racing driver, oh, every race is the same amount of points.
The points are the same at the start as they are at the end,
Exactly,
Jack.
but we've got 6 races to go now.
Sure.
6 races to go. Eduardo Mortara is leading the championship. 15 points cover the top 4. It's afternoons like this that can make a big change to your championship. No one looks back, oh, at the second race, oh, that's where Mortara won it. It'll be somewhere in these last 6 races that it's, sorted out, basically.
Because all eyes really have been on Mortara, because he had a phenomenal 3rd win last time out in Marrakesh. He seems unstoppable, but obviously things didn't go quite so well in qualifying for him.
No, they didn't, but those points counted at Marrakesh just the same as they're going to count today, Jack. But it's so important. Every day, every race you get, you've got to maximise it. And you've got to get them, every point you can, whether that's in qualifying or in the race. And that's why these drivers out of position are sort of staring down the barrel of the gun thinking, we've got to get on with it today.
But that isn't how your brain works as a driver.
It is mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't believe it.
Well,
I don't buy it for all these
still
drivers on the grid.
174 points up for grabs. So, as you say, there is still a lot to play for. But let's go down to Radzi.
Well, Nicky, I'm delighted to be joined by the owner and team principal of Avalanche Andretti, Michael Andretti. First of all, we're in New York. We're in your home. How does it feel to be here?
Oh, it feels fantastic. This is one of the greatest cities in the world, and for us being Americans, having a race here in New York is just awesome. So we love coming to here.
And Effie's really leaving its mark here in terms of the Empire State Building, lighting up that tower in the Effie blue. It was an incredible sight, and I think it's not just about arriving and then leaving. They really are leaving their fingerprints where they go.
Absolutely. I think that's part of what Effie Formula E does is that, you know, we're here to, promote sustainability and things like that. And so, you know, our intention is to leave a mark.
Exactly that. Obviously, for all the drivers, that's the case. In terms of Oliver Askew, didn't go as he would have liked in qualification, right at the back of the pack. Jake Dennis in P13. Where does the team go from here today, do you think?
Hopefully just forward. For Oliver, he can't go any worse than he is. But, unfortunately, he didn't even get one lap in qualifying, so that was disappointing. And Jake had a very quick lap going, and he touched the wall in the last sector. So, I think he has a fast car, so hopefully we'll be going forward.
Well, if there's one thing we know about Jake, and indeed Oliver, is they love a fight, and they'll be doing exactly that here in the Big Apple of New York City.
Well, a bit of a tough day in the office for the Andretti team, but fingers crossed they can claw it back. Jack, let's get into what happened in qualifying, because given the fact that we are now basking in glorious sunshine and blue skies, not even the weather radar predicted the fact that we would have rain in qualifying, and it completely turned the game around. What happened?
Well, it did, because initially it was difficult enough in dry qualifying. Sergio Sette in the Dragon coming into the final corner was looking really quick all weekend, but he just clipped the wall on the way into the left-hander, spun across into the wall on the outside, and that was him out of qualifying. It brought out a red flag, and this was the driver's eye view of it. And you can even, they couldn't get the car ready for this race. So Sergio Sette, because of that accident, won't be starting the E-Prix, which is a real shame for him. Then Edoardo Mortara was out on circuit, and he's the championship leader. Big pressure on him. He's qualified something like first, second and fourth in the last 4 races. He's absolutely on it, but he was 5th in the qualifying group. So that means he didn't even get through into the duels, which was a disaster for him. 9th on the grid.
Yeah, and it was so close, wasn't it? I think 8,000th of a second, just missing out on going into the duels, which is just so close and yet so far away.
He was so disappointed afterwards. When he got out the car, he just walked, straight into the back. But then the rain came, and that's what really played into the hands of Mortara, because at that point, when he's going out the back of the garage, he's thinking, this is it, I'm losing my championship lead, I'm having a terrible day. But then the rain came, and Mitch Evans and Jean-Eric Vergne were both kind of caught out by that. The rain came down, and they didn't push when they should have pushed. They thought, we'll do another lap, but you can see it just got so wet out there. Evans locking up, coming into the hairpin, Vergne doing basically the same at exactly the same corner, and that scuppered them. Jean-Eric Vergne, 2nd in the championship, 16th on the grid. Mitch Evans, 4th in the championship, 14th on the grid.
But there is one name we now need to talk about, and that is the guy sitting right behind you. Stoffel Vandoorne really capitalised on the qualifying today. He's going to be starting from the first row on the grid in P2, and this is such an opportunity for him to, he's in that kind of breakaway pack at the beginning. For him, this is a real moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It was him versus Nick Cassidy. Those are the 2 drivers that made it through to the final. It would have been ideal for Vandoorne to have taken pole position and those 3 points that are on offer as well. But in the end, he was beaten by 8 thousandths of a second. It was absolutely incredible when they came across the line, just 8 thousandths between them. Delight for Envision, their first pole position of the season, Cassidy's 3rd pole position of his career. Maybe he can get, his first big points of the year. But Vandoorne, 2nd on the grid, his nearest title rival, 9th on the grid. It's just an absolutely huge opportunity. These are the kind of days that can define his championship.
Well, there we are. This is all to play for Stoffel Vandoorne. Thank you very much, Jack. We will let you get back to your commentary box. Racing not far away. Before we talk to the drivers on the grid, let's take a deeper dive into the championship situation. Here's Dario with his take on the main contenders.
The 2022 championship fight has been a cracker, and there's a breakaway group of 4 drivers vying for the title, and no one is going to give an inch. Edu Mortara, Jean-Eric Vergne, Stoffel Van Dorn and Mitch Evans are world-class drivers. And with less than the points available for a win separating them, the sprint to the finish is going to be a thriller.
Stoffel Van Dorn wins the Monaco E-Prix, and it's Vergne who comes out in second position. Eduardo Mortara hits the lead of the race. Mitch Evans wins in Jakarta.
After 3 races, Jaguar's Mitch Evans looked anything but a championship contender. He really was not happy with the car. But a double win in Rome put him back up into the title fight. Since then, him and the car have absolutely been as one.
Jakarta was a little bit frustrating because they had a good win, but the guys that I'm obviously fighting were right there. We all seem to be sharing the podium at the moment and scoring big, and you know, the guy that's going to win this is going to have to score big every race.
Mercedes EQ's Stoffel Van Dorn, a class act, an ex-GP2 champion. He knows how to get the job done. But even the best make mistakes, and twice this year, he's missed the attack mode activation zone.
Confirm attack.
I missed it.
It cost him a win in Diriyah, and if he wants to challenge for this championship, he cannot afford any more mistakes.
I feel like now it's kind of crunch time, and we really need to put all the pieces together. I think you know, no one can really afford any mistakes. You know, we've proven that we're up there consistently with pace. It's just going to come down to tiny details, and just we can't leave any stones unturned.
DS Techeetah's Jean-Eric Vergne. He's the only one of the 4 not to have won a race yet this season, and no one has won a Formula E championship without winning a race. But he's also the only one of the 4 to have won a Formula E championship, not once, but twice. Jean-Eric Vergne was raging when he came second to Mitch Evans in Jakarta.
And we this race, like it was ours. There's no way it was faster than us.
And that's the type of fire that wins championships.
I know what I have to do. You know, I know I have a good car. I know I have everything in my hands to win races. I know the reason why I couldn't win races before in Jakarta or Marrakesh. I think, you know, the best is yet to come from our team and myself in the last part of the season.
And that brings us to Edu Mortara. Through no fault of his own, his championship challenge ended in disaster last year. He's determined to get the job done this time round, and he's driving beautifully. The Mercedes-powered Venturi has been a rocket in his hands this year.
Mortara wins again. Mortara hits the championship lead with victory in Marrakesh.
It's very complicated to be consistent, so let's hope that we can score a little bit more than the 3 others, and hopefully we can make a little gap with them.
So, which one of these 4 is going to take it home? Well, it might be none of them. We don't know. There's over 170 points still available. I do know this. This title fight is going to be epic.
Well, things are really starting to heat up down here on the grid in New York City. It's an absolute sellout crowd here in Brooklyn. I'm standing by the car of the man who all eyes are on, Nick Cassidy for Envision Virgin. He's managed to put it on pole position. Stoffel Van Dorn, a big rival in this championship title fight, will be on P2, so it's going to be really interesting to see the battle down to that first turn at the start of this race. But now it's time for the American national anthem.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Very special moment there, literally giving me goosebumps. Really counting down to the start of the race now. Nick Cassidy, if we can just grab a quick word. This is a big moment, really. Pole position here in New York again.
Yeah, again. It's like Saturday of last year, so it's quite cool. But it's nice.
I mean, Sylvain Philippi was saying that coming into this race weekend, you were feeling really confident. What gave you that confidence?
To be honest, I've been happy with the work we've been doing lately. Like, it's not been a great season for us, but we're all quite happy with each other and the developments and things that we've been learning. We've just gone through 3 tracks that really haven't suited us, right? And now we're coming back to a track where we're strong last year, and we're hoping, well, what we're taking from the last races we could put with last year's performance.
Excellent. Well, Nick, we are going to wish you all the best. Can't wait to see what you do with it. Thanks very much. Right, let's see if we can have a quick word. Aidan Gallagher, hello. What a pleasure it is to have you here with us.
Glad to be here.
So now you're the star of Netflix show. Tell us all about it.
Oh, boy. Well, it's a show about some time-traveling siblings in a dysfunctional family. And on my spare time, I am a UN Environment Goodwill Ambassador, and I try and support things like this. So I'm very glad to be here.
You're here with Envision Virgin, aren't you? Envision Racing.
Yes. Well, I've just been trying to support the event. This is my first time as like any racing experience, so.
And?
They've been talking to me about the cars and.
Want to get in the car?
Oh man, I've been in the car. It's fantastic.
You got to drive the car.
I got to sit in this amazing car that you're looking at right here on that shot, and I was just in a different car, a safety car, but riding down the track, it was amazing. Completely took me away.
It's still pretty cool going in the safety car in the Porsche Taycan.
It's unlike anything you'd imagine. Yeah.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure. I have indeed, yeah.
Isn't it fantastic?
It is. I loved it.
Like as soon as you take off, then you realize, oh, this is what this is, and then you start doing the corners and.
That's why it's all about driving electric, which is obviously, you know, as a UN environmental good run ambassador, you're, you know, paving the way for everyone else.
Trying to support what I can.
Brilliant. Yeah. Aidan, absolute pleasure. Enjoy the race, and you're definitely standing in the right spot. Thank you. Radzi, back to you.
Thank you very much, Nicky. I have to say, look at the gorgeous livery on that car. They're going to see if we can catch a word with John-Eric Verne. Jev, a massive task for you today. What's going through your head right now?
Not much, really. Just still trying to make a good race, starting from 16th. It's not going to be easy for sure, but you know, we must score some points, come back in the points, and try and have a smart race, but you know, aggressive one too.
That word, in terms of you saying there, the word aggressive, is it helped by the fact that you've got good memories here?
No, not at all. Change nothing.
So when you're in P16 versus perhaps you're on the front row, does strategy change?
Yeah, no, for sure the strategy change. When you start second or on the front row, you're fighting 1 or 2 guys max, and here I'm fighting 15 guys in front. I mean, I hope I can fight the guy in the front, but I doubt so. But yeah, for sure it changes when you go on the attack mode, how much energy you want to consume to overtake, how much you want to save for the end. It all depends on the group of people that are surrounding you. So it's not straightforward, and it's not. I don't have a clear plan. I think I'm just going to go for it and you know, see what happens and make the plan along the race.
Is that quite liberating, just finally?
Liberating starting 16th? No.
Simple as that. Well, thank you very much. Jeff. All the very best of luck today. I tell you what, there is not a more competitive man on this grid than John-Eric Verne. And Nicky, it appears that his head is in the right place.
Yeah, it is indeed. And let's find out if Lucas de Grassi's head is in the right place. How are you feeling ahead of the start of this?
Feeling really good. The qualifying was very tricky with the rain in my group, but we managed to go through, and starting from P3, anything can happen. We're definitely going to try to move forward, and New York has been very good for us in the past.
There was a brilliant moment in qualifying as well, where it was you and Sebastian Buemi against each other in the duels. It brought back some fond memories of that rivalry. And by the way, Lucas was quicker.
Yeah, Seb is a great driver. We had a very fierce rivalry for many years in Formula E at the very beginning. I think it was only a tenth quicker, so he did a great job. And in Formula E, it's all about like details. And then I lost the next duel. I lost to Stoffel by like 400s. So it's all about like really like small details.
Incredibly close, the whole grid really. Wishing you all the best, Lucas de Grassi. Thank you very much. He is, of course, the Season 3 champion. Sebastian Buemi was the Season 2 champion. And one driver who will be trying to add a championship name title to his name is Stoffel van Doorn. We were going to have a look to see if he was around. We think he might have gone for a little break. So never mind, we can have a little wander, see if there's anyone else down here, or maybe we could go and check out with Redzi. Quickly just check if Mr. Pascal Wehrlein is here. We're getting a big shake of the head there from Victoria, the PR. Let's see if Radzy's finds someone.
Well, I'm joined by Jerome D'Ambrosio. Jerome, in this position, we're not used to seeing particularly the man behind us here, Edward Mortara here. We've got Lucas Di Grassi right up at the very front, so almost mixed fortunes today.
Well, it's Formula E, so you have to, I don't think Edo had a bad qualifying. Far from that, it was really close. He nearly got into the duels, but he's going to start P9 on the grid. There's a lot of things that can happen from this position. And then Lucas had a great qualifying. Obviously, him and the engineers managed really well the qualifying when the rain came and anticipated that really well. And then when really far down the line in the duels, was close again with Stoffel. But yeah, P3 for him. We're in good positions, so we have to try to maximize the race. It will be long. It will be long for the thermal management of the battery and also for the tire management. So let's see.
For Edo leading the championship, is there an element of pressure in this, knowing that you have an opportunity ultimately to become a legend?
Well, it's everybody deals with that in different ways. I think when you get to the end of the championship, absolutely. I mean, the tension rises, and we're all competitors, and we want to do well. But it's how we approach that can in the way we approach that, we can make sure that it doesn't impact us too much. And in the end, we really try to focus, as we say, race by race, try to get the maximum out of every situation. And then we'll see the championship. It's something that we'll see at the end of the year after the last race. So yeah, focus on the moment, and then we'll see.
Thank you very much for your insight. It's always absolutely fascinating to speak to you. And Nikki, I have to say, this one is almost impossible to call.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if Alexander Sims can look into his crystal ball and tell us what's going to happen in the race. It's good to be in New York, though, isn't it? I mean, there's a bustling grid here, such an iconic city to race in.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's awesome being here, looking around the track. Now it's in decent condition, but yeah, the days before the race it was enjoyable to spend a bit of time in the city and go on the subway and see the sights. It's a very nice place to be.
Very special, and you're also starting from P6, which is a great qualifying result.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. As always in Formula E, it's always a little bit of a lottery. We had a very poor practice session where I was actually last, and then you go into the next session and then you're sixth. I mean, it's just up and down continuously in Formula E, but yeah, I think our pace is half sensible, so yeah, I look forward to the race.
And this is, like a proper, we're back to a traditional street circuit here. It doesn't seem quite as hot as we've seen in Marrakesh and Jakarta. So what's the biggest sort of challenge going to be for the drivers? What are you really, I suppose, concerned about?
Well, because we had rain in qualifying, the track's going to be quite green, not a huge amount of rubber on the track. It's fairly warm, so there should be some battery temperature saving. Not as much as Marrakesh, but yeah, it's going to be who's adapted to these slightly different conditions best. Yeah, we haven't experienced them before, so we'll see.
Well, all the best. Thank you very much, Alexander Sims for Mahindra Racing. Radzy, where are you?
Well, we're going to see if we can grab a word with Mitch Evans right now. Mitch Evans very much staying cool here. Mitch, in the top four, there's so much on the line today. Where's your kind of head at? Because we know how dangerous you are. I wouldn't want you in my rearview mirror.
Well, there's like 13 guys ahead of me that's going to have it. I don't know. Hopefully we got good pace. The car's been working well today. Unfortunately, just in quali, we got caught out a bit with the conditions, and I made a small mistake, well, quite a big mistake on my only lap that we could do. Yeah, we could have maybe reacted a bit differently as well. So yeah, unfortunately, starting back here, I'm feeling good. It's going to be a tough race. The track keeps getting like reset with like some of the wet weather.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I think
in 60 seconds,
it's going to be
there will
tough.
be a performance
But
of the
a lot of
national
fast cars
anthem
ahead of
of the
me.
United States
Slight mixed
of
grid as
America.
well. Look, I'm going to get my elbows out and see what we can do.
And just finally, mate, in terms of the position that you're in right now, at what point do you begin to flick that switch? Because anyone watching this who hasn't seen Effie before, they'd say, oh, he's a chilled out guy. But I know when you're in that car, you are a lethal weapon.
I'm a Kiwi, so we're normally pretty chill. But in the car, I've got split personality. Speak to my team, man. They've heard it. Yeah, let's see. I'm feeling good today. I'm always super relaxed. I trust myself a lot. I rely a lot on my instincts and stuff. So it's been working well. So yeah, hopefully we can have a clean race. And I just want to get some points and try and salvage something out today.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks. Cheers.
Mitch Evans there, always cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, but as he said, you're on the radio, I've heard the other side of Mitch Evans when he gets properly fired up. You can't be as good a racing driver as he is without that fire, and he definitely got it. Yeah.
Nick Cassidy, though, speaking to him, also seems just like really in the right place, in the zone there. Cool, calm, focused. How important is it before the start of a race to actually be in the right mindset?
Well, you've got to be in the mindset. You know, all this action going on the grid, it doesn't matter. The drivers are going to be thinking about what they're going to do in this first corner, off the lights, how to get the perfect start, but then how to brake into turn one. How much risk can you actually take? If you're at the front, if you're Stoffel Van Dorn, you're thinking, oh, don't mess it up, don't mess it up. If you're one of the guys further back, Edo Mortara or Jean-Eric Vergne, way in the back, you're thinking, how much risk can I take? How many places can I make up at the start without getting caught up in an accident? And as dusty and dirty as it is offline, that only adds to the stress.
And they do have a huge amount of work to do. But it's been done before. Well, this is a track that we absolutely love. You were lucky enough to have a proper good look around. So let's take a closer look at the streets of Brooklyn, a track guide with our very own Daria Franchitti.
Welcome to New York. Let's take a lap of this 2.3 kilometer, 14 turn Formula E circuit. Turn one, lovely wide braking zone, heavy braking, big arc into the corner. It's very tempting to make an aggressive move down the inside. The entry is important to this corner, but actually it's about getting the correct angle at apex to allow you to accelerate through turns 2, 3, 4, and 5, then down the long straight into turn 6. A good overtaking opportunity, but not an easy one. It's bumpy and it's narrow. But a lot of overtaking seems to go on here into this 90-degree left where you use as much curb as you possibly can, immediately followed by a 180-degree right in turn 7. Now, guys try to go side by side through here normally, and that doesn't end well. Exit of turn 7, it's very difficult to put the power down because the car is turning and accelerating at the same time. Turn 8, you stay more over to the left to try and straight line the braking as much as possible for turn 9. There's a lovely new surface in turn 9 this year, but there's a grip change and there's a bump as you enter that new tarmac and exit it. Then it's a short straight down to turn 10. The attack mode activation zone on the outside of this incredibly tight hairpin. And this creates its own problems because the drivers taking the normal line have to brake a lot earlier than the drivers taking the attack mode activation zone. So we've seen contact on the entry. Then on the exit, as the two cars converge, well, they seem not to be able to do that without a fair bit of contact. This corner has been absolute action central over the years, and I expect more of the same today. Turn 11 is a 90-degree right-hander. Then it's a short straight to the chicane at 12 and 13. Turn 14. I love this corner. It has got it all. It's high speed, it's high risk. The drivers have got to be absolutely millimetre perfect. They approach the corner, they start to turn in, they get the rear of the car sliding a little bit. There's a dip in the middle of the corner where they have to get off the throttle just to help the car turn, get as close to the wall as they possibly can, but not too close. Then they get back to full throttle, and if they've got it all right, then they skim the barriers on exit and they carry a bit more speed than all the opposition all the way down to turn 1. But if they get it wrong, they end up in the wall. The start-finish straight completes the 2.32 kilometre street circuit for the New York City E-Prix.
So just a couple of minutes to go before the beginning of round 11 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship here in New York City. The grandstands are packed and we are just 5 minutes and 15 seconds away, and this is just such a wonderful event. I love coming here every year, and you can see the fans have made their way. And will they see this man move to the top of the championship standing? Stoffel Van Dorn, 12 podiums in his Formula E career. He's currently third in the championship. He is currently 14 points off the championship lead. But, crucially, he is second, and the championship leader is back in 9th place. And what can this man do? I asked Mike Lugg, the chief engineer of Envision, can you win this race? He said, yeah, of course we can. And Nick Cassidy is looking for his first ever win in Formula E.
Formula E is back in Brooklyn.
Time to go racing in the Big Apple. Round 11 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship here in New York City. It is, of course, the New York City E-Prix. Really looking forward to what we're going to see today. The grid is mixed up, the weather is warm, the sun is out, and a really tricky racetrack is about to play host to this 11th round of the season and 45 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. Under the eyes of the Statue of Liberty, this is how the grid will line up. At the back, it's Oliver Askew, Oliver Turvey and Sergio Sedecamera. Sergio Sedecamera won't actually be starting the race because of a crash in qualifying earlier on. Andre Lotterer didn't manage to get a lap set in qualifying, so he's down in 17th place. Jean-Eric Vergne is second in the championship, and he is 16th on the grid. Mitch Evans is 4th in the championship, and he is 14th on the grid. A real disaster for those two in their championship fight after the rain came down earlier on this morning during qualifying. Nick de Vries is just outside of the top 10 in 11th spot, and he is behind Antonio Felix da Costa in the DS Techeetah. Da Costa was on pole position and finished second in the last race. He'll be looking to come through the field. Eduardo Mortara leads the championship by 11 points, leads the chasing drivers, the group of 4, by 15 points, but he is only 9th on the grid today. He is going to need to come through the field. Sam Bird's best result of the season is a 4th place in the opening race of the year. He is starting in 8th position, and he will want to climb up the field. Robin Freins was frustrated with qualifying because he went out on the wet track and is all the way down in 7th position. Alexander Sims has his 2nd best qualifying performance of the season for the Mahindra team. And then in front of him, it's Sebastian Buemi, best ever qualifying result for Sebastian Buemi this season, and his last race victory came on the streets of New York City a couple of years ago. Pascal Wehrlein is 4th for the Porsche team, and then it is 3rd for Lucas de Grassi, the Brazilian driver for the Rocket Venturi team. Eduardo Mortara's teammate, what can he do today to try and assist his teammate and the team in their championship fight with Mercedes EQ? Stoffel Vandoorne. Big open goal here for Vandoorne to get big championship points as he lines up 2nd on the grid behind Nick Cassidy for the Envision Racing team, his 3rd Formula E pole position, but he has never taken a victory. The grid is set. The fans are set. Everybody is set for 45 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. I am set, and alongside me, IndyCar legend Dario Franchitti. Set?
Set. Ready to go. This first corner, Jack, it's dusty and dirty, it is offline. It is going to be chaos, and it's so easy here to get taken out in someone else's accident. So you can do everything right, and it can still be over. There's going to be so much, I feel, aggression in this race today.
Bumped into Mitch Evans as he made his way to the grid. He said, this is going to be a fun one, so we'll see what happens from him down in 14th position. We'll try and keep track of those championship protagonists, but Stoffel Vandoorne is one of them, and he is lining up 2nd on the grid. We'll keep you abreast of all the championship permutations as we go. That's Vergne's view from 16th. Cassidy is angled aggressively at the front.
Yeah, and the guys on the right, as we look at it, have got a disadvantage. That's the dirty side of the track to accelerate and also to brake going into that first corner.
Here we go then. Round 11. Cassidy on pole, Vandoorne alongside him. And we go green in New York City. Very good start from Cassidy. Absolutely flies off the line. And Vandoorne loses 2nd place on the run down into the first corner. Onto the brakes goes de Grassi. Up into 2nd place goes de Grassi. And a great start from Buemi. Buemi's got up into 4th place, and he's now got up into 3rd place. Vandoorne shuffles down the field. Terrible start from Pascal Wehrlein in the Porsche. He has lost ground. Sims has lost out to Robin Freins. Everybody getting their elbows out further back. The DS Techeetahs seem to have survived. We're on board with Jean-Eric Vergne in the middle of the pack. He is in 17th place here. Freins has got ahead of Wehrlein now as well. Almost Evans going into the back of Vergne. In fact, I think Vergne might have got ahead of Evans. He has. So Vergne's got up into 15th. Evan drops back into 17th place. So that's good news for the Frenchman. There's a yellow flag out there at turn 6 as well. It's Vergne! Jean-Eric Verne facing the wrong way at turn 6. The Frenchman reverses back around, but the DS Techeetah driver, who's second in the championship, has taken a big hit.
And that is massive for the championship, Jack. Trying to go double file through 6 and 7. I think we saw the result there. That's going to be difficult to recover from. I was trying to see if there was any damage to the car, but he's still facing the wrong way.
He's trying to get it around and pointing the right way again. I think he might just about manage it. Across the line comes Nick Cassidy. He is leading the way. Lucas de Grassi is in second place. Robin Freitz on the attack, trying to get Stoffel Van Dorn onto the brakes into the first corner. Can't pull it off. Cassidy leads, de Grassi second, Buemi third. What a brilliant drive this is from Buemi. Jean-Eric Verne has got going again. And then it is Van Dorn fourth, Freitz fifth, Verline, Sims, Mortara's gained a place, De Vries and Dennis the rest of the top 10. As they come down now, there is Jean-Eric Verne going again, but he is about 15 seconds off the back of the pack. No, he's 30 seconds off the back of the pack. Verne needs a safety car and an awful lot of luck this afternoon to get anything out of this E-Prix. Cassidy leads, de Grassi second, Buemi there in third place in the Nissan.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Buemi, but Mitch Evans has actually lost 2 places in that first lap incident there, and he needs to be going forward, the championship in mind.
Well, he actually got one back because he was behind Verne, so he'd lost 3. But Verne's spin means he managed to get one back, but still not ideal for Evans, down in 16th position. Right, let's see what happened. This is on board with Evans. And Verne is going side by side with, so they all just kind of sandwiched into each other. Evans got hit from behind, and Verne was going into the back of Lotterer, and then it was the Dragon going into the back of Evans, who then went into the back of Verne. All a bit of a concertina.
Absolutely right, and all those guys will be on the brakes, but these cars 2 and 3 behind them, just pushing them into the incident. I don't know how, as the FIA, the driver stewards, I don't know how you would penalise anybody for that. It was just too many cars trying to fit into too small a spot.
Cassidy, de Grassi, Buemi, Van Dorn, Freitz, straight on. Who was that going? It might have been De Vries going straight on in the back of shot. And
I think it was, Jack.
He was in 9th place, and it looked as though he'd left his braking a little bit too late. Dennis has got ahead of him now, so De Vries drops down to 10th place. Cassidy leading in the Envision. De Grassi and Buemi in second and third. Van Dorn right in there. Freitz in there too. There is De Vries, and there's Bird trying to make some moves as well. De Costa started 10th and has dropped down into 14th position with 41.5 minutes plus a lap to go. Whoa, Van Dorn is Larry through the chicane. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just caught a little bit too much in the curve, and we saw the result. But I think some of the guys will be given turn 14, the last corner they're coming through right now. Just a little bit of room. We saw a massive accident earlier for Sergio Setti Camera, so you've got to treat that corner with respect. As you see Robin Freitz all over the back of Stoffel Van Dorn.
Here's a look at Nick De Vries down at the left-hander, and yeah, just locked up, look, and went straight on and cost himself a place to Jake Dennis.
And he was lucky it was only 1 place.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought he might be going into the runoff area, never to return, but wasn't to be. There's Oliver Turvey, who's running down in 18th position at the moment in the Neo. But up at the front, it's Cassidy, de Grassi, Buemi, Van Dorn, Freitz, Verline, Sims is still in that fight. Buemi's gained 2 places, Freitz has gained 2, Dennis has gained 4, Lotterer has gained 5. De Costa, the biggest loser, really. He's lost 6, Bird has lost 5. As we come down into the Manhattan hairpin, Cassidy, de Grassi, Buemi, Van Dorn and Freitz are the top 5 as they come around the left-hander. Down into Buttermilk Bend, the right-hander that takes them away from the Buttermilk Channel and back inland towards Brooklyn and Red Hook. And now through the chicane, every time Van Dorn is sliding that car through. Tremendous stuff. Dennis is the first driver to activate his attack mode. We go on board, driver's eye, Stoffel Van Dorn.
And you see Van Dorn coming down a little bit, lifting and coasting there, trying to save some energy. You're trying to go quickly when you're not on the throttle. That's the easiest way to explain saving energy. You see him sitting there behind Sebastian Buemi. The car's balance will change. You see him go through turns 2, 3, and 4. As the run goes on, as the tires heat up, the front will start sliding or the back will start sliding, and cars will come and go. Cars will better at different points in the race. The trick is to really capitalise when your car's quick.
On the tower in the bottom left is Mitch Evans' progress as he's trying to get past Oliver Rowland, but we're keeping an eye on the front here with Cassidy still leading the way, but de Grassi chasing him down. Now, often these early stages of a Formula E race are a bit of a game of chicken/chess. Oh, not for Buemi, he sends it on de Grassi. Interesting move there from Buemi, doesn't do it. Sims activates attack mode, as does Eduardo Mortara, and Sims doesn't lose a place, Mortara doesn't either. You get 4 minutes of, no, Mortara does. You activate attack mode twice during the race, which gives you a 13% power boost for 4 minutes. And Cassidy is now pulling away just a little bit as they come down into the first corner. You saw Byrne disappearing there to the left, but there's Eduardo Mortara, championship leader, 9th position, in attack mode now as he is up behind Jake Dennis.
Yeah, and Jean-Eric Byrne at the back of the field, he really needs a safety car because he can't afford to use the energy to try and close the gap to Oliver Askew in P19, because otherwise he just won't make the end of the race. As hard as he wants to charge to make up that gap.
Stoffel Vandoorne is having radio problems, we believe, so not the cleanest of communication between Vandoorne and the team. So that's going to be a bit of a trouble if that continues throughout the remainder of the race. He's running in 4th position. That's the Venturi garage. Delphine Biscay, the team manager, on the right. Team principal Jerome D'Ambrosio, bespectacled on the left, and that is their man, Eduardo Mortara, championship leader in the Rocket Venturi, getting Larry coming through turn 9.
Yeah, almost got the wall. See a couple more cars going into the attack mode activation zone on the outside.
Oh, Freitz dived in between. I think it was Verline and Sims, and he gets ahead of Sims. So, sorry, it was Dennis and Sims. So really aggressive stuff from Freitz off the back of that attack mode. That was remarkable.
That was remarkable, but also very smart, because he's got to use that attack mode now to close the gap on Stoffel Vandoorne, the Mercedes ahead of him. When you take attack mode, you lose about 1.5 seconds. So Robin Freitz right now, these next 2 long straights, as he locks up into one, he's really got to try and close the gap on the 2 straights up from turn 1 and up to turn 6 through 5.
He's kind of trying to do the undercut, as it were, get that extra power and close in on the back of the cars in front, and then get ahead once they make their attack mode move. 37 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Cassidy leading, Degrassi, Buemi, Vandoorne the top 4. Wait, Sims is sending it in behind, looking a bit leery as he's under pressure from Jake Dennis, but there is Freitz in the green Envision, running in 5th. His teammate Cassidy in the lead. Are either of them going to be taking attack mode this time around? Cassidy does. Race leader Cassidy, Buemi and Vandoorne all activate their attack mode, and Freitz comes out not quite ahead of Buemi, but does get ahead of Stoffel Vandoorne at the moment.
So Degrassi's out on his own strategic island at this point. And as we sit, the teams don't know how much energy any of the other cars around them have used until they see it on the tree, the same as you do watching at home. That's when they understand. On the tree on the left, that's when they'll understand whether you see it right there, there's your energy graphic, and then all of a sudden you know if you're in good shape or this is basically reality right now. Shows you where you are.
Everybody fairly similar. Mortara's got a little more than those around, Dennis a little less, but broadly speaking, they're all in a similar place at this current time. Degrassi is leading the E-Prix now, and he is ahead of Cassidy in 2nd position. What can Degrassi do? Will he activate his attack mode this time around? This is the first time we've seen Degrassi really fighting at the front so far this season.
Okay, gap 1.4 to Buemi, that's going to be close. We push and take attack this lap. Push and take attack this lap.
So Degrassi being told it's going to be close with Buemi, but here we go. Degrassi into attack mode, comes through the right-hander, Buemi in the red and black Nissan, no love lost between them, and Degrassi comes out there in 2nd place. So Cassidy leads, Degrassi 2nd, Buemi 3rd, Freitz 4th, Vandoorne's lost 3 places and is down to 5th. Dennis has gained 5 and is up to 8. Evans has just got ahead of Bird. In fact, Bird has lost a couple of places, I think, because he just activated attack mode. But Evans is making a little bit of progress. Verne, remember, meanwhile, is down in 19th position. There you have the attack modes remaining for the top 9. All have 1 remaining.
If you're Nick Cassidy leading this race, one of the last people you want to see in your mirrors is that black Venturi of Lucas Degrassi. He's such a canny racing driver. He's really figured out how to win Formula E races, and if he gets a sniff of victory, as he has got today, look out. You see one of the Porsches looking like they were about to make a move. Looks like Verline trying to pass Sims.
Yeah, Verline's going to get Sims here coming down into turn 6. There are the 2 leaders. Cassidy ahead of Degrassi. Now Degrassi will have extra power for longer because he activated it a lap later than Cassidy, and so far this season the Rocket Venturi team have been very, very good and clever with their attack mode strategy. Down into the hairpin. Verline did get Sims, so he's up into 6th position. Sims down to 7th.
We see Buemi in third in the Nissan. They've struggled a bit this year with the efficiency of the powertrain. The pace from one lap's been not too bad, but it looks like Nissan have turned the corner, running up in third place. That's really good to see. Max Günther, 12th at the moment after hitting the wall in qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Cassidy leading as we look down at the left-hander of turn 1. Then we come around the dock loop and the Manhattan skyline there in the background. What a wonderful place for a motor race. Formula E brought racing back to the streets of New York City a few years ago, and it was the first time actually they'd been racing on the streets of the city since 1896.
Just watching there, Lucas Di Grassi looks like he outbraked himself a little bit into turn 6 and lost some time, lost some momentum because of that. And any racing is about momentum, but especially Formula E, just with the fact that the cars don't start enough with the race with enough energy to finish it. So you've got to just save energy as well as going as fast as you possibly can. So it adds another complex part to the puzzle of trying to win a motor race.
33 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Cassidy leading, Di Grassi second, Buemi third, Van Dorn fourth. Now we're getting to the stage where Cassidy, Buemi and Van Dorn, first, third and fourth, are going to be out of attack mode, and Di Grassi will have it for an extra lap. So let's see what Di Grassi does over this next lap with his energy use and with his attack mode use. Will he close into the back of Cassidy, or will he just happily sit where he is in that second position, which would be a great haul of points, and try and use that energy later on today? We're on board with Di Grassi now as he comes down into the left-hander of turn 6.
You can hear him off the throttle, doing a bit of lifting and coasting, not using energy at the very top end of the straight, so that allows him to brake even later. You hear it again here. That's him saving energy, then he's regenerating, then putting the energy back into the battery as well. Hasn't closed the gap up to Cassidy quite as much as I would have thought. 26 seconds still to go with his attack mode, and he made a bit of a mistake getting off the hairpin of turn 10.
Di Grassi closing in on the back of Nick Cassidy, but 13 seconds left. Maybe he's going to be close enough for a look down in towards the first corner. Cassidy's got quite a good advantage coming through the final turn at Clinton Wharf, and Cassidy's going to hold the place, I think, for the time being. Di Grassi's coming at him, but he is out of attack mode now. So Cassidy holds the lead. Di Grassi is second, Buemi is third, Van Dorn is fourth. Fifth is Freins, but look how close Di Grassi is here now to the back of Cassidy. Might not even need attack mode to try and take the lead of the race away from the New Zealander.
I would say, watching Cassidy from Di Grassi's onboard, Cassidy's car in the rear is sliding more than Di Grassi. So I think he's really got to be careful of managing his rear tyres and not overheating them.
Oh, Di Grassi sailing it into turn 6.
Yeah, just that being said, that you see Di Grassi as well. And again, that's him probably regenerating and locking the rear tyres.
Through the left-hander into turn 9. And then down into the hairpin right-hander of 10. This is a look at Nick de Vries going to the inside of Mortara and getting ahead of Mortara. Whoa, who's that? That's Günther, well out of control as he was going side by side with Lotterer. Then Evans was taking attack mode further back there, so all kicking off in the lower midfield. Mortara is up into, well, he's down into 10th position. Evans is down in 16th, so he had made a bit more progress than that, but now he's kind of slipped away a little bit. So Stoffel Van Dorn still in a good position in 4th place. That would be enough to give him 12 championship points. It wouldn't actually be enough to take him to the lead of the championship. He would be 2 points behind Eduardo Mortara. Well, 3 points behind Eduardo Mortara if it finished like this, because Mortara is in position to get 1 point. Here we are on board with Mortara, who also isn't making as much progress through the field as I thought he might. Crunching over the curbs. Heading down into the left-hander of turn 9.
Okay, Dennis will fight with De Vries. Dennis in attack mode. No more attack mode for De Vries.
A little bit surprised at Van Dorn. I thought the Mercedes guys were saying, I think we found something with the car. We think we're going to be a bit more competitive, and it hasn't quite come out yet, but we've still got 29 minutes plus a lap to go, and that is a lifetime in a Formula E race.
Yeah, we're not quite at the halfway mark yet. As we come through the chicane and then out through the final corner, Di De Vries is coming under pressure from Jake Dennis, just as Eduardo Mortara's engineer suspected. So keep your eyes towards the back here. There goes Dennis to the inside, coming into turn 1, and I think he will emerge in front. Van Dorn, though, in 4th position in the silver Mercedes EQ, and Dennis did get ahead of De Vries and up into 8th place, but we're on board with Van Dorn in driver's eye, coming down into turn 6.
And look at his head moving around, checking the mirror, making sure he's not being attacked from behind by Robin Freins, looking down, checking the dash, making sure all the numbers are where they're supposed to be, and then looking ahead so he doesn't run into the back of the car front. The workload on the Formula E driver is really, really steep. You can hear the rear tyres on the verge of locking up as he regenerates, puts some energy back in the battery, and also brakes for the corner.
There you can see the UNICEF artwork on the exit of that Manhattan hairpin. UNICEF for every child, and Formula E have been part of UNICEF or associated with UNICEF for quite a few years now, which is really great to see. But up at the front of this race, it is Nick Cassidy who is out in the lead, ahead of Lucas de Grassi, ahead of Sebastian Buemi, Van Dorn 4th, Freins 5th, Verline, Sims, Dennis, De Vries, Mortara, the rest of the top 10. We've still got one attack mode to go for basically all of the drivers out there.
Just watching where this race has ebbed and flowing, you'd say that Cassidy was quicker in probably the quicker corners, and De Grassi right now quicker in the slower stuff, so he's quicker through the sort of 10-11 area, but then Cassidy's able to extend the advantage out through turn 14.
Down into 6 and 7 again. Now we're on board with Buemi. Now he's running in 3rd place. This is driver's eye inside Buemi's helmet as he comes into the left-hander now of turn 9. There is the Nissan team.
De Grassi's really close in this sector, yeah. And he's just, De Grassi likes to make those passes, likes to catch the guy in front by surprise. You see Jake Dennis making yet another pass on Alexander Sims. And Jake Dennis is a big day for him. Home race for the Andretti team. Michael Andretti, the big boss, is here, and he wants to perform well. Or it gives him extra impetus to perform well, shall we say. Always wants to perform well.
27 minutes plus a lap to go. Cassidy across the line again. Freins is coming into the mix a little bit. In fact, it's still pretty much 6 for the lead as they come down into turn 1, and that's being pretty harsh on Jake Dennis because he's in that group as well. But to gain that many places over the course of the E-Prix, even though he's in that group, might be a bit of a stretch. Sims is dropping back into the clutches of Mortara a little bit now.
And put yourself in the driver's position. You've got to be inch perfect here, threading the car through the walls, bouncing it off all the curbs, just getting everything you possibly can. At the same time, the car is beeping at you. It's telling you when to save energy. It's telling you, all these things. You have to know when to regenerate. You've got to work paddles behind the steering wheel. All that going on. So when you see a driver make a mistake, they're juggling and they're riding the unicycle at the same time, pretty much. Oh, here goes one of the Porsches. Here's Pascal Wehrlein to the inside.
I think Freins reacted and took attack mode. I might be incorrect there. No, Freins did that. So Wehrlein went to the inside, and Freins decided to activate attack mode while he was getting overtaken. And he dropped a couple of places for Wehrlein and Dennis, 5th and 6th positions. So here they come, through the left-hander at Clinton Wall.
Look how they slide the car. The rear's already sliding, and then they get to that dip in the track, and it just increases the angle of yaw, increases the oversteer. And that is a lovely feeling when you get it right. As you see Nick De Vries go past Edo Mortara again.
Those two have been squabbling non-stop, really, haven't they, over 9th place? And it is De Vries now up into 9th. Mortara back down into 10th position. So if we finish like this, Mortara would still lead the championship, but only by 2 points over Stoffel Van Dorn. Here's the energy that we've got remaining. Again, it's fairly even. Freins getting ahead of Dennis. Dennis has a bit less than everybody else. Buemi and Cassidy don't look super duper for energy, but they're all right.
Yeah, if you're Jake Dennis, that's not good. I mean, that's nearly 2%, and that's a chunk of, as accurate as you are now with the energy in Formula E, that's a chunk. As you see Sebastian Buemi going to attack mode around the outside.
Verline does it as well, and there's Mortara bumping with Alexander Sims, I think that was. So Sims and De Vries has got ahead of Sims.
And Evans takes attack mode 2 in P15.
Yeah, so Evans is into attack mode. There is De Vries, there's Sims, there's Mortara, there's Bird. As they chuck their way through the chicane. Love these last 3 corners on this track. might be one of my favourite sequences in Formula E. I love it.
Absolutely right.
Oi, there's a send from De Vries to the inside of Dennis, and he goes through. So De Vries now up into 7th place.
And you see him release the brakes, not only on the brake when he presses the pedal, but actually releasing it, carrying the speed into the apex. Lovely stuff from Nick De Vries.
24 minutes plus 1 lap to go. The winners of the fan boost: Lucas de Grassi, Stoffel Vandoorne, Eduardo Mortara, Antonio Felix da Costa, and Jean-Eric Vergne. They will all get a 5-second power boost in the second half of the race that they can use. De Grassi and Vandoorne, the two who it's kind of most appropriate for in the fight up at the front. We're on board with Buemi, who's now in 4th place, having activated that attack mode. He's still come out in front of Robin Freitz. Cassidy goes through attack mode now and emerges just behind De Grassi. He tries to get ahead of De Grassi coming into turn 9. Can't do it. De Grassi covers the inside, but he's being fairly aggressive on the defense here, De Grassi. Not in a dangerous way, but in a compromising way energy-wise. Surely Cassidy is going to get him down the start-finish straight. We're riding with Vandoorne, who's got the best seat in the house, to watch Cassidy attack Vandoorne for the lead of the New York City E-Prix. Cassidy attacks De Grassi for the lead of the E-Prix, and he can't quite get it done.
That was surprising with that massive power advantage, but now the fact that De Grassi has held Cassidy back, that is a big help in the strategy when Lucas de Grassi then takes his next attack mode. It's just slowed him down that little bit. And Cassidy's still not able to make it happen into turn 6.
Maybe, is he just happy to sit there and wait for de Grassi to take his?
He'll be getting some kind of slipstream which will allow him to save some energy, which is probably part of it, but I wonder if he's also worried about his energy numbers, but at some point he's going to have to go. Because Lucas de Grassi is not going to give him anything. He's going to have to go and take this place. And de Grassi goes to attack mode, as you see.
De Grassi then into attack mode, comes out in 3rd place behind Stoffel Vandoorne. Cassidy leads. He is in his 2nd attack mode. Vandoorne is in 2nd.
Okay, good job. I will have waited one more lap. Good job.
That's the feedback from his engineer, Cyril, telling me that he would have waited one more lap. Thanks, Cyril.
So, Cassidy, Vandoorne and de Grassi the top 3. Vandoorne has one more attack mode to use. Everybody else in that sort of front gang have used both of their attack modes now as they come through the chicane, the first corner, the left-hander, and then through the dock loop. Freitz is getting right up behind Sebastian Buemi as well in their fight over 4th position. When is Vandoorne going to use his 2nd attack mode, and where will he emerge? That's going to be the big question. Freitz is having to defend here from Pascal Wehrlein. Does he manage to keep the place? Yes, he does. Freitz holding on to 5th place. 21 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Nick Cassidy leading round 11 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. The New York City E-Prix here on the streets of Brooklyn. And 2nd is Vandoorne, and Vandoorne activates his 2nd attack mode now, comes out ahead of Buemi. So that is a move for position, ultimately, for Stoffel Vandoorne, because he was running in 4th before this sequence of attack modes. Now he's got up into 3rd place.
And now he's got to close that gap, 0.8 of a second to Lucas de Grassi ahead of him. Stoffel Vandoorne has got to bank points today when his other title rivals are in trouble.
Championship leader Eduardo Mortara only running in 9th place. 2nd in the championship, Jean-Eric Vergne is down in 19th position. And 4th in the championship, Mitch Evans. You can see his rear-facing camera in the tower on the left-hand side. He is only 13th. 20 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Big opportunity this for for Stoffel Vandoorne in 3rd spot.
And dare I say it, but everybody's played quite nicely so far, which is not really what I was expecting at all.
20 minutes plus a lap to go. Cassidy leading. Cassidy out front is looking for his first Formula E victory for the affable 27-year-old New Zealander. There he comes. Cassidy, de Grassi, Vandoorne. They basically have... Cassidy's about to run out. De Grassi will have one more lap than him, and then Vandoorne will have one more lap than him in the top 3.
This is the point where you start really watching the body language of the cars around you to see if the cars are sliding around more than you are, where they're weak. Are they overheating their tyres? Because once the attack mode advantage is gone, you've got to find another way. You've got to find out where you're stronger than the cars around you to progress.
Cassidy built quite a big gap on that on the last couple of laps. and has got a second advantage now to Degrassi. He's out of attack mode. Degrassi will have attack mode for another lap, but I don't know if he'll be enough here to close in over this next lap onto the back of Cassidy. A little raindrop or two there on the camera overhead. So that'll be interesting if any more starts to come down. But Degrassi and Van Dorn are going to try and get up to the back of Nick Cassidy for the lead of the E-Prix. And what Van Dorn doesn't want to do here is fight Degrassi and lose too much time.
Absolutely, and if we do get rain, it's going to come from the left here. It's going to come from the west side of the circuit. So the first points that are going to hit it are turn 10 and into 11, that sort of area, and then down the straight between 14 and 1.
18 minutes, 30 seconds to go. The top three: Cassidy, Degrassi, Van Dorn. Degrassi's going to be out of his attack mode imminently. Van Dorn will have one more lap of usage where he'll be running at 13% extra power. Can he use it to get ahead of Degrassi? Degrassi's here for what is exciting is Degrassi and Cassidy are here for a win. They're just here for glory, right? They've got championship points to think about and a team's championship for the Venturi team.
Watch Van Dorn right now.
But they want the win, so Degrassi covers the inside, holds the middle ground, and Van Dorn can't get ahead. Now, he's not really going to get another opportunity with the extra power there. So, round the outside of Degrassi into 6 was never really going to work. With the robust manoeuvres that we see from Degrassi, where would you go for it, Dario?
If it's me, I'd have a go at sneaking on to turn 10. If not, it's got to be turn 1. I was shocked that the Stoffel Van Dorn didn't try the inside into turn 6, but it is so dusty offline, maybe he thought that would put him in bigger problems.
So that's Stephen Lane, Van Dorn's race engineer, reminding him that Degrassi might use his fan boost, and he might use it to try and get ahead of Cassidy for the lead of the race. Here they come then. The top three have broken clear, and Laney's nailed it. Degrassi on his fan boost coming down towards turn 1, but he's too far away from Cassidy to make a move. Cassidy covers the inside, but now Degrassi has used his, and Van Dorn still has a fan boost to use, and he might go for it coming down into turn 6.
Yeah, you got to say Nick Cassidy's so fast coming off of turn 14. It's given him breathing room into turn 1.
Van Dorn hits fan boost down towards turn 6, dives for the inside. Van Dorn up into second place. The championship challenger up into second position. And as it stands, that would be enough to move him to the lead of the Formula E World Championship. Down towards turn 10, Van Dorn now has his eyes set on the race win. And earlier on, we were looking at Van Dorn thinking, he's not really making much progress here. But goodness me, it is coming to him and Ian James's team late in the day.
Yeah, and you see Pascal Wehrlein, his teammate, up to 6 as well. So, Pascal Wehrlein, I'm sorry, Nick de Vries. It's all coming together. And they've been very patient in those opening stages of the race. But now's when it counts.
Through the final corner again at Clinton Wall.
Just watch Cassidy out of that last corner. He's able to gap the field. Anybody behind him is able to gap them, and that gives him a bit of breathing room in the braking zone for turn 1.
Now through 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how it would stand at the moment. Van Dorn would move to the lead of the championship by 2 points ahead of Eduardo Mortara. Byrne and Evans would be slipping back a little. It would be 19 points from Van Dorn in the lead to Evans in 4th. With 5 races to go, he'd still absolutely be in the mix, Mitch Evans, but it would be a tough one.
Especially 5 races to go, Jack. It's, you know, the points available closing down every day. So just on that on board with Lucas Degrassi a second ago. Imagine how frustrating it is. You're in a racing situation and you've got to lift because otherwise you're not going to have enough energy.
He could have covered
the end of the race.
He didn't cover the inside where he did on the last lap.
I think he just knew at that point. I think there was so much, the speed differential was so much, just, yeah, off he went. A great move.
Right, now it's just a full-on fight. No more attack modes, no more fan boost. Cassidy, Van Dorn and Degrassi, the top 3. Buemi still doing a really good job there in 4th place in that Nissan ahead of Robin Freitz in the other Envision. But there is Degrassi running in 3rd spot. The New Zealander, the Belgian and the Brazilian fighting over the win in New York City. Out of the dock loop. And then out onto the back straight, down towards turn 6. Once again. on board with Stoffel Vandoorne as he tries to get ahead of Nick Cassidy for the lead. And is that rain on the lens?
No, that's basically shot blasting from all the dust on the circuit. So imagine what that's done to the driver's visor. You see the tear-offs on the visor of Nick Cassidy, and you can pull those off, but you only get probably 7 or 8 of those tear-offs to use, and then when they're gone, it just limits your sight.
Cassidy, Vandoorne, De Grassi into turn 9. Mortara is in his second attack mode then, so he's left it quite late. We'll see if he can gain some places in this period. Here come the top 3 then, around the final corner, and with 13 minutes and 1 lap to go here in New York City, it is Nick Cassidy leading the way. Second is Stoffel Vandoorne, third is De Grassi, fourth is now Robin Freins. Freins goes ahead of Sebastian Buemi. Buemi dropping down to 5th in the Nissan, still looking set for his best result of the season, which so far has been an 8th place finish in Monaco, but Freins is up into 4th spot now.
Yeah, Buemi looks in a little bit of trouble because that move from Robin Freins came from a long way back, and yeah, Buemi just looks like he's backing up a bit into the pack now.
Clunking over the curbs. It's amazing when you go trackside how loud that actually is and how visceral that actually is.
Yeah, the force involved. You see the rain?
Sure.
Rain, that is now rain. That is now rain on the visor.
That could make the track slip. Well, what a stupid thing I'm about.
It's going to make it slippery, Jack.
You don't need me to explain. This might be the first motor race you ever watched. You don't need me to explain that that rain is slippery. Evans is up into 12th place. In fact, make that 11th. Look at him there on the inside into turn 10 on the left. He's up into 11th place, so he is slowly creeping back into the points. And look how close De Grassi is to the back of Vandoorne. Cassidy has got it hooked up. The problem for Evans is he's 4 seconds back from the top 10 now. There's an attack from De Grassi. De Grassi fighting Vandoorne. Vandoorne tries to hang it around the outside, can't get it done, and Freins takes advantage. Robin Freins pops in, says thank you very much. The man from Maastricht up into 3rd spot now. In vision, 1 and 3.
Beautiful piece of racecraft from Robin Freins there. And this is exactly what Nick Cassidy wants to see. He's looking in his mirrors and he's seeing them battling and he's driving away.
There he is. You can see the rain coming down. This is going to get very, very fun in the last 12 minutes or so.
And the cars run, all Formula E cars run on tyres that can do any conditions, and so it's not they don't have to come in the pits and change onto wet tyres. They're on treaded tyres anyway.
Buemi defending now from Eduardo Mortara. So Mortara has got himself up into 6th place. This is a really strong second half of the race for the championship leader. Cassidy is checking out. He's going to be in New Zealand pretty soon, the way he's driving. De Grassi is 2nd, Freins is 3rd. Vandoorne suddenly down to 4th position and dropping ground from the leaders a little bit. Mortara is just ending his attack mode as he closes in on Sebastian Buemi, and he's going for it. Mortara now suddenly finds himself 5th. Bird is trying to get ahead of Nick de Vries, up into 9th place and pulls it off. The British driver ahead of the Dutchman. The Jaguar ahead of the Mercedes, but Mortara, the championship leader, has climbed up into 5th place, and all of a sudden he's only 1 spot behind Stoffel Vandoorne. Earlier on it looked like Vandoorne might win and Mortara might be 10th. Now, as the rain comes down here in New York, Mortara is 5th, Vandoorne is 4th, and that's the battle between them.
And this rain changes completely the complexity of the track, because some cars are going to work in the rain and some aren't. Some have got the powertrain set up for the wet, others are not, and they're going to be all at sea. So
look at this,
your seatbelts.
Look at this recovery from Mortara. As it stands, he'll be 13 points ahead of Stoffel Vandoorne. We've got a long way to go, 10 minutes, but at the moment this is a champion's drive, and it's starting to chuck it down at turn 10 at the hairpin, at the Manhattan hairpin. Yellow flag out there at turn 6. 10 minutes plus a lap to go. Nick Cassidy is still leading. De Grassi is 2nd. And then it is Freins, and then it's the silver Mercedes EQ of Vandoorne. Then it's that man, Eduardo Mortara, championship leader, cracking on, climbing through the field, and there's going to be a Porsche attack here on Sebastian Buemi down into the 1st corner. Buemi covers the inside, Wehrlein can't get around the outside. 10 minutes plus a lap to go. I'm trying to now speak a bit calmer because I feel like I'm giving myself nowhere to go, and I think there's going to be places to go.
I think you may be right, Jack. I mean, you see the rubber on the track, when it rains, on top of that rubber that's on the circuit, it's like ice, but then they can't really go offline too much because it's dusty. So there's just no grip out there. These cars are going to be sliding around, and with the instant torque that electric motor produces, it's going to get a bit tasty.
Oh, the Costa's broken down. Left rear.
Yeah.
Left rear puncture. Or maybe he's tapped the barrier at some point. Miserable day this for Diaz Techeetah. Not good news for their team's champ. Oh, that's a full puncture.
Yeah, there's no damage to show that he's hit the wall, so... Oh, now it's raining, just to add insult to misery. He's out.
Oh, look at it! Look at it! Look at it! Look at the rain! Cassidy leading, Degrassi second, Freins in third, and this is going to be so tricky now. These last 10 minutes are going to be remarkable on the streets of New York City. Cassidy leading, Degrassi second, Freins in third. I feel a bit sorry for the fans in the grandstand. This isn't exactly what they signed up for, but they're going to see quite the race. It's bone dry down at turn 1.
And these tyres have probably got a couple of 3 millimeters of tread. When the puddles are deeper than the tread, that's when you get aquaplaning, and then it gets really interesting. The car just slides and turns into canoe.
Big thing here, Mortara's got damage. Behind Van Dorn, Eduardo Mortara, look at the front left bodywork,
Okay,
it's flapping around.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Full course yellow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow, this is for conditions, full course yellow.
I mean, you can't see it.
Oh, Mortara! Eduardo Mortara, the championship leader, has aquaplaned off. Oh, they're all off. They're all off.
Every one of them.
There's 4 cars off, isn't there? Down at turn 6.
I saw an Envision.
Yes, Cassidy is in. I think Freins is going. Oh dear, it's wet. It is wet. Evans having to take evasive action. Less than 8 minutes plus a lap to go, and Cassidy is in there, and Van Dorn is in there as well. Cassidy from the lead of the E-Prix, and Degrassi. So Freins is still going. Freins leads. Mortara is second, and the red flag is flown.
Okay, everybody, red flag.
And there's only 2 cars that have got through the turn 6, 7. There's obviously a massive traffic jam.
Remember your procedures. Park in front of the garage if no repairs. Park in the garage if repairs.
So, park in front of the... Well, many questions now about what is going to ensue. 7.5 minutes plus a lap to go. It was obviously getting treacherous down into turn 6. There is the Porsche of
right rear damage. There's right rear damage. It's all turned in.
Now Degrassi is out of the car, which is great to see. The crowd cheering him. Cassidy is out as well, and it looks like Van Dorn...
Look, the whole right rear is missing from Cassidy's car.
Yeah, so what has happened?
Oh,
There's Van Dorn climbing out as well.
Van Dorn's hit him really, really hard.
Do you think Van Dorn has skittled into the 3 of them?
I think they've all followed each other in.
Remember the procedure. If the car is not damaged, park in front of your garage.
You know, we talked about the tread depth.
Please.
You know, we talked about the tread depth of the tyre. I think we've reached the point.
Wow. Oh, there's a Nissan in there as well.
Or half a Nissan.
That's Sebastian Buemi. Well, now we'll have to see what happens with the regulations and that sort of thing, because there's always the well, I'm gonna get the regulations out basically.
Jean-Eric Verne is calmly driving along, having been half to 3/4 of a lap. Look at the tyres, guys. You can see the lack of tread on the tyre because it's just getting worn away with the everything that it's been put through today.
Right, here's what happened. Whoa, Cassidy! Oh my goodness me!
Yeah, and then there's...
Oh my goodness me! What? I mean, what on earth?
That's a big shunt.
They all just flew straight on.
But look at the speed that Freins was carrying, so much less. What?
And then why did Verline? I mean, this is on board with Cassidy.
It's going to be big. Look at the water. Just hit a puddle. Massive puddle.
Oh, he's in.
No, wait.
Yeah, and then the camera dies before he gets... This is Mortara.
Watch the puddle. Nothing he can do.
And then Verline must have been broken or something.
Yeah, right rear was broken.
The right rear was broken, had no drive. And Bird went into the back of him.
And watch this. Watch the water when he hits the puddle. There you go.
Yeah. So there was just like a puddle down there.
Formula E car turns into speedboat.
Oh.
And there's an Envision. That's the back end of the Envision car. And that's a lot of damage. I mean, that is a massive amount of damage. And that's going to necessitate a gearbox, which could necessitate a penalty for the Envision team. So that's some serious stuff going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is quite remarkable end to the session. Well, we don't know if it is the end, but it will be a remarkable end to the E-Prix, however it ends, because this is quite something. You can see now the teams trying to work out what to do and where to go. All the drivers are out of the car. They're all making their way back.
And this is where you need your team managers, your team principals to know the rules and what you can and cannot do, so you don't get any penalties under this red flag situation. You see Lucas Di Grassi back in the Venturi garage.
Well, Verline there broke down. And was then hit into the back.
Stop training.
It has. That's the irony. There's Di Grassi back in the garage.
And there's Jean-Eric Verne from last to who knows if this race gets restarted. The clock has stopped 7 minutes 30 seconds plus 1 lap to go.
Yeah, and they can also add time on to that because of well, to be fair, actually, we weren't under full course yellow for long before it became red flag. But they may still have a restart. It could be safety car restart. It could be they can actually do a standing restart from a red flag if Scott Elkins deemed it.
He's feeling particularly cruel.
Yeah, exactly.
You see the damage on the nose of Mitch Evans' Jaguar.
And Scott Elkins will be talking to the teams and the drivers and finding out exactly what they think.
And that was really quick thinking from Robin Freins.
There's Da Costa. Oh, goodness me. Oh, they all just piled in.
And these guys are working on the car. You see Edo Mortara.
And then that was Verline just coming to a halt.
Yeah.
What was it? Silverstone. Come on, you know this. Silverstone 74, something like that, where it was really wet and everyone just...
Jody Scheckter.
No, that was not. It was raining and everybody just piled straight on at Beckett's or something, and it was reminded me of that.
Actually, absolutely right. I don't know what year it was. I wasn't there.
No,
not quite that old.
Easy. Yeah. So there's De Vries then, parked outside the garage. The rain has stopped. Mortara, they haven't fixed Mortara's car because if they fix the car, you have to take it into the garage, and the front wing is just kind of completely taken off. There's a look at the tyres that Dario was talking about earlier. But if they put it in the garage to repair it, then you have to go to the back of the field, basically.
I think it will very much depend on how much time is left in this race, how effective that front wing is going to be, and how wet the circuit is too. I can't see them trying to run it without the front wing, can they? Robin Freins again, yeah. Can't say enough about his reactions to really slow down, see what was going on, read the conditions, and take advantage.
Well, here's the interesting part for me. Well, a lot of it's interesting. In the sporting regulations, if the race cannot be resumed, the results will be taken at the end of the penultimate lap before the lap during which the signal to suspend the race was given.
But had Freins crossed the finish line?
I don't think he had.
I don't think so either.
So there's a chance that Cassidy can still win this race. Yep. Cassidy, Di Grassi and Van Dorn could still be the top three if it is red flagged and it's deemed that we can't go racing again because of the conditions. There you can see the Michelin man at the back, not Bibendum, but the gentleman who works for Michelin, having a look at the tyres.
How much politicking is going on with the race director right now?
Scott, I've sent you an email. Yeah, it doesn't look like Sylvain Philippe's getting too stuck in on the radio, is he? So we're basically in the scenario where it's either deemed that the race is over and cannot be resumed. There is Nick Cassidy making his way back to the... I mean, for these drivers, I mean, it's obviously tough for Cassidy, you know, basically crashing out of the lead of the race, but when 4 cars follow you in, you must be able to kind of unblame yourself for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. That was a freak, absolutely freak conditions. And you can't, I don't think you can blame any of the guys for that. You've got to take your hat off to Robin Freinsen, a phenomenal job he did avoiding it.
And that camera position that that we saw all the cars pile into is a remote camera that we have. So basically the cameraman is standing well away from where the camera is on like this. It's actually really cool on like this remote system. And so there was no one there to get hit.
How could you became, how could you, there's nothing and you could...
How can you let the 3 leaders go through and then red flag everyone else?
He's waiting for them. I was just seeing on
the
the
lap
radio.
before, we couldn't drive out of the last sector. Turn 10, the lap before, it was already gone.
We're pushing to not restart. We're going to go back on that.
Hopefully.
You heard that, we're pushing not to restart. And this is where every team becomes incredibly selfish and just wants to fight the corner, understandably.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it came so suddenly, didn't it? And to be fair to sort of Scott Elkins, the race direction, it was raining, full course yellow was deployed fairly quickly. So honestly, me personally, I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit quick. But then you see the conditions at other parts of the circuit and it made full sense.
Yeah, oh, absolutely right. And I don't like second guessing what the race director does. I've done it before and it's just, you know.
But it was almost instant.
Exactly.
The rain, the full course yellow, and the red flag were all, well, they must have been within a minute or something.
Track conditions changed so quickly. We had rain this morning in qualifying and it changed nearly that much. We didn't have quite that much rain. And there's a fan still in the grandstands. Well done, guys, staying.
Yeah.
But during that deluge.
Full credit to the fans.
Absolutely.
What a beautiful day in New York City. So
sun's shining.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've washed the track.
So yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens with 7.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. At the moment, the race leader after the red flag is Robin Freitz in the Envision. As you look at, again, those hardy fans, Nick Cassidy going in, I presume, to chat to Lucas, I'd have thought.
He's looking for backup.
Yeah,
That's exactly what happens in those situations. You go, hey, come here. Don't you think we've got the rough end of the stick there? I'm trying to think of a polite way to say it. Let's go talk to race control.
That's what I said on the radio. I said it was undrivable. And we could not do anything there.
I was trying to set up for focus yellow. I'm going straight.
Yeah,
and we're lucky that we're fine now because the heat is huge.
Cassidy and Degrassi having a chat about the
situation, the
incident, and just everything. Eduardo Mortara still sitting in the car. At the moment, he is sort of classified as second if they were to restart the E-Prix. Even if they don't, it's still a pretty solid position for Mortara to be in, honestly, because I think he was, what was he got up to 5th behind Van Dorn in 4th, so he was running in a good place.
Done a phenomenal job in the latter half of the race.
And same, Freitz was the leader, or would be the leader if the race started again, but he was 3rd or 4th. I think he might have been up to 3rd by the, yeah, he was 3rd, Van Dorn was 4th, and Mortara was 5th.
I wonder if he's changed his helmet. He has. He's got a wet visor on now. You see it's see-through and it's got that black part inside. That's almost double glazing and it stops it fogging up. So he's changed it to a wet visor, a wet helmet.
You want new gloves? Do you want new gloves is the question to Oliver Askew. Maybe his gloves are a bit damp.
Lucas Degrassi's face is like thunder. Yeah, and I'm a little surprised they haven't gone up and had a discussion yet with the chief steward, just sort of the race director, just sort of being very respectful of that. Obviously, Scott Elkins is a busy man right now trying to figure out what to do with the rest of this E-Prix. What the rules say. Look at the size of the puddle.
Yeah.
The left there, that shows you how much rain fell in such a short space of time.
That's Brian saying he couldn't see anything.
I did early, but still make the call and adjust.
That probably shows how he got in such a mess then, doesn't it?
How many cars crashed?
something.
Degrassi chatting to Tower, one of his mechanics. He's very tall. That's the reason for the nickname.
Or France.
No, Tower.
Yeah, but France was chatting to Tower.
Oh, I see. Yeah, what did I say?
Degrassi.
Oh, sorry, everybody. It was France chatting to Tower. There is Mortara.
France isn't tall.
No, exactly. We are past 3/4 race distance as well, so that's something to just bear in mind. There is Mortara, still sitting there in second position.
As a driver right now, you're trying to keep focus. You're trying to prepare for a restart. You've got to. Some people say, oh, well, they might not restart it. That doesn't help you right now. You've got to be fully prepared that this race is going to go green again, and you're going to have to perform for another 7
Okay,
minutes.
everybody, this is race
7.5
control.
minutes.
As you can see, we're still doing a significant amount of cleanup. We're still a good ways of getting things picked up and cleaned up here. I'll give you an update as soon as I can. So just stand by.
So Scott Elkins, race director, saying we are clearing up, basically, and he'll update as soon as we can. Obviously, there was 3 or 4 cars off down there, and barriers to replace and the like, with 7.5 minutes plus a lap to go.
And it wasn't that they could pull the cars away. A lot of them are missing limbs.
And and within each other as well.
Yeah, not an easy thing.
Lotterer has taken his helmet off and just sitting with a fan on. Lotterer, who is, well, it's difficult actually to read the positions if the race got back underway, because there's 5 cars in there that are in the middle. But I think Lotterer would basically be running in about 8th position were the race to resume in this scenario. 7.5 minutes plus a lap to go, and it just seemed like, as you see the fans again in the grandstand, sticking it out. Thanks to the marshals as well, who are doing a great job out there this weekend. About 6 or 7 have come over from the UK as well to do a bit of marshalling.
Otherwise, even for the championship, it's totally unfair. For the championship,
Degrassi and Cassidy continuing their chat. This is on board with Cassidy. It's all quite dry, and then boof! It's like he's hit a wave.
It's like he's hit a wave, exactly right, Jack. And then you can hear the trying to scrabble for grip. Watch this.
This is Verline. So what happened to him? Suddenly he hits the downpour. Oh, he gets hit from behind.
It really does.
So he gets whammed from behind. And then the car's broken.
Now listen, it's got no drive.
Mortara recovering. I wonder who whammed Verline. That's the...
Mortara. That's Mortara.
That looks like the...
Oh, that's Cassidy, sorry.
No, that was going into Cassidy. That was Van Dorn going into Cassidy.
Right.
This is Degrassi.
Oh!
This is, so it's Boemi, I think, who is about to visit Verline very intimately.
Oh, it's a horrible feeling when the cars just come out of nowhere.
And this is Mortara.
When you hear the motor stop.
Mortara's recovery is just remarkable, to be honest.
Fantastic. Such quick thinking. Not quite as quick thinking as Robert Frines. He saw what was going on up ahead and jumped on the brakes. There you go, super slow-mo of the fixing the puddles.
So, Oliver Rowland at the wheel of the Mahindra. He would be in about 9th place if the race is to resume. There is race control making the decisions. Scott Elkins is the man in the middle at the bottom. And those are the tyres. So let's talk about these tyres a little bit, because there was so much rain there. These tyres can cope with wet and dry. That's what they're designed to do by Michelin, and in general they've been a really successful partner of Formula E for the last 8 years. But when there's that much rain, it becomes impossible. In the same way that, in other Formula, even on wet tyres, a certain amount of rain you can't drive. Now, if it's just kind of damp like this, they might be absolutely fine for the next 7.5 minutes.
Oh, absolutely right. The 2 things have happened. Obviously, it's a multi-condition tyre, so it's got quite a narrow tread gauge anyway, otherwise it would just get ripped to pieces in the drive. And they've also done a good part of practice in summer qualifying, and then a lot of the race, almost 30 almost 40 minutes of the race, and they're just... So by that point, a lot of the tread is worn away. I'm not sure any tyre could have caught in the puddle that deep.
So Robin Freitz at the venue where he won his last Formula E race, sitting at the front of the field at the moment. Max Gunter's lost the front right wheel arch on his Nissan.
He had a bit of a shunt this morning in qualifying coming out of turn 14, just misjudged it looked like, and really hit the wall hard on the exit of turn 14. Got away with it. Sergio Setticamera did the same thing in the Dragon Penske and didn't get to start the race because the car was so badly damaged.
Yeah, absolutely. 7.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Well, rain has passed here in New York City. There's a look over to Governor's Island. Beyond that, the downtown area of Manhattan and Wall Street and the like. Robin Freitz, as I say, where he won his last Formula E race back in season 5. It's been a long time for Freitz. And we know, though, that Envision are pushing for the race not to be restarted, even though kind of either way they're in quite a good position, because if they red flag the race and it gets done on countback, Cassidy might get the win. If they continue the race now, Freitz might get the win. And it's a great turnaround for that team after a very difficult few races. So that's going to be they're looking for a good weekend at a place they've won 3 times in the past. Twice with Sam Bird in the first season in season 3. Sam Bird won both races, and I think his teammate Alex Lynn took pole position in season 3 as well. And then Robin Freitz won in
season 5.
Season 5.
Yeah, I saw Sylvain Philippe before the race. I said, Sylvain, I think that's the first time I've ever seen you smile. I have seen you smile recently.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, we needed that today. And so this is good for the team. You see, Nick de Vries now, it's raining again. Did Nick de Vries, they came out of the garage, the Mercedes garage?
Yes, so they must have repaired him.
Okay, attention all teams, this is race control. The race will not resume. The race will not resume. We will post the correct order on the timing monitors according to the regulations. We go back to the penultimate lap prior to the red flag. That is the order according to the regulations. It's just the conditions are too difficult at the moment.
Nick Cassidy wins the New York City E-Prix. Nick Cassidy wins his first race in the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Cassidy, de Grassi and Freitz the top 3, double podium for Envision, and that is what it means for the New Zealander. What a roller coaster of emotions. Huge result as well for Edoardo Mortara, recovering the 5th. But Nick Cassidy is a race winner for the first time. Leon Price there making his way out. He can't believe it. Hugs all around with Cassidy. That's his engineer, Robert Sattler, who's tapping him on the shoulder there. High fives between he and Bertrand Famine. Cassidy can't believe it. That must have been one of the oddest ways he has ever won a Formula E race. A hug with Tom Blomqvist as well, his compatriot. Bryony, the PR, everybody's here having a hug.
He's won a lot of races, but you can see what this one means. Fantastic.
But if Evans appearance come, you win.
Nick Cassidy, the winner of the New York City E-Prix.
I'm sorry, man. I mean, in the end, you're sitting there P1, so I was like, oh, no, it's good, man. It's good. It goes up there. Exactly. But I told you.
They're a really good pair, those two. Before the race started, I went, if you go round to the right here, there's their driver room. Worked in on them, and they both get along very well, having a good chat, and they really kind of work hard for each other. Rocket Venturi, great result for these guys. They're getting cracking straight on for tomorrow. 5th for Mortara is brilliant achievement. De Grassi is 2nd at the end of the race, which is just tremendous. And apologies for the language from Tower there, but didn't even finish with wheels on it.
So, I hate to say it, but they're going to have to what's going to happen with this gearbox change and what meaning it's going to make. But this is phenomenal for the Envision team.
Attention all teams, just a clarification, just so you're aware. If your car is parked outside the garage, move it into the garage, and it is considered in park for May conditions. So if your car is outside the garage, move it into the garage. It's considered park for May conditions.
So that's because the cars obviously can't go to Parc Fermé, so they just have to be pushed back into the garage. So Cassidy, De Grassi, Freitz the top three, and there's the celebrations continuing. Now I think they don't really know when to go to the podium, how to go to the podium, where they're meant to be right now. As Cassidy hangs around in the garage.
Gets his phone back, look.
Yeah, lovely. And the sun, in fact, a bit more drizzle maybe coming down there. But
I think it's doing both.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be a beautiful rainbow somewhere over Manhattan at the moment. What a way to end a Formula E. Look, Formula E has done a lot of things. I've seen some random stuff covering this championship for 8 years. This is a new one.
And that shot from turn 7.
Them all just firing off.
Of just the speed at which they hit that wall shows you how serious this is.
Nick Cassidy takes the win after 29 laps of racing in the New York City E-Prix, 1.1 seconds ahead of Lucas de Grassi. Then Robin Freitz in third, Stoffel van Dorn fourth, Eduardo Mortara completing the top 5, Buemi in 6th, Verline 7th, Dennis 8th, 9th for Bird, 10th for Nick de Vries. Mitch Evans finishing outside of the points in 11th position. 12th Max Günther, 13th Andre Lotterer, Roland Sims the top 15, Sims dropped back down the field, Turvey and Ticton 16th, 17th, Vern Askew, Da Costa, Vern and Askew, the 19 drivers, Da Costa, Giovinazzi and Sede Camera not classified. Sergio Sede Camera didn't start the race. So, what an end to this E-Prix. Absolutely remarkable. Them all firing off was remarkable. Here's how the championship looks. 5 races to go. Eduardo Mortara leads the championship by 12 points over Stoffel van Dorn. Jean-Eric Verne and Mitch Evans, by not scoring, have dropped a little bit further back. So it's 25 points now, Evans' deficit to Eduardo Mortara. Cassidy pings up to 12th place by picking up 28 points with a sort of lights the flag victory, except he never saw the flag and never even got near to seeing the flag. And the team's championship has been actually incredibly tight so far this season. And Venturi are on the top of it and actually gained 14 points on Mercedes EQ in the course of that race. No points for DS Techeetah, 2 points for Jaguar TCS Racing. Envision pick up 43 and are suddenly now ahead of Porsche. Well, we'll be getting on with the podium presentations in a few moments. We'll be hearing from the top 3 down in the pit lane with Radzi 2, and we'll bring you all the reaction over the next few minutes to what was quite a remarkable Formula E race here in New York City. And we're doing it all again tomorrow, so 23 hours time we will be getting underway. Let's start with the 3rd place man. He is down with Radzi.
The race should have been a safety car a lap earlier, then would be all.
Well, Robin Freitz,
the way they did it.
3rd place in what was an absolutely remarkable E-Prix. First of all, are you okay?
I'm okay. I didn't touch a wall, so the 2 guys in front, Nick and Lucas, they went straight in turn 6. So aqua planning, they spun basically. I don't know what happened behind me, but I was the only one that survived the carnage.
That's something I'd like to talk to you about, because how did you manage to do that? Was that your reactions? Was that foresight? Because it was incredible to watch.
It was, obviously, it's very tricky because we are using the tires like 3/4 of the race and the tread is going down and then the rain comes. You're basically driving with slicks. So I braked a bit early and then I didn't see anything because of the spray from Lucas. And then when the spray disappeared, I saw Lucas sideways 45 degrees in front of me. So luckily I braked a bit early and I just made the corner.
We're grateful that you did exactly that. 3rd place, incredible day for Envision, brilliant day for yourself.
Yes, thank you very much.
Wow, look at that. And Robin Freitz just serenely coming through the middle. And coming through to take 3rd place. But his teammate for Envision Racing is now with Radzi.
Nick Cassidy, the winner of the New York E-Prix, an absolutely unforgettable race. We can see a smile on your face. What a turn of events at the end. But I mean, first things first, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. Yeah, it's such a roller coaster of emotions, right? I mean, I was pretty calm after everything happened. Obviously very disappointed initially, and felt like I did everything right today. Felt like that was in the bag with 10 to go, and even when it started raining a little bit. So yeah, initially very, very disappointed considering that, but I mean, I'm biased, but I think it's the right decision.
It was an absolutely fantastic drive right the way up until the end there. When you found out that you were going to be given the first place, what went through your head? What was that like?
I was screaming in the garage, are you sure? Are you sure? You know? Thanks, man. Look, it's difficult for me to say too much. I'm super happy, obviously, with the win, and I don't want to talk about the decision-making process and all of that, but in terms of the race that we did, the team did a fantastic job. I had a fantastic car today, and I'm just really pleased, especially after the last weekends that we've had, that we could come here and take the win.
You won today in New York. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Nick Cassidy victorious. Got a great start off the line, I have to say. Kept it all together down at the first corner, and then was pretty much bossing the race. Very impressive stuff. Got the lead back here from Lucas Di Grassi, who finished in second.
Lucas Di Grassi, second place here in New York. We can see the smile on your face. You're wearing your Brazilian flag with pride. Massive congratulations. But first of all, are you all okay?
Yeah, that's the first thing. The crash today was the strongest crash of my Formula E career. One of the strongest crash I had in motorsport. It was well over 15G. I would say. I'm fully bruised, my neck, my hands, my legs, but I'm okay. And just shows that when you're aquaplaning, there's nothing really you can do. And I'm happy that they put the red flag and they reversed the result of the race, because it was the fair thing to do. I'm happy with the points, but unhappy that the car is completely in pieces. And the mechanics, they will have to work very, very hard to put the car together for tomorrow.
Thanks for your time, mate. Get the car ready and get yourself better as well.
Thank you very much.
So that is a remarkably good point, really, from Lucas Di Grassi, because all the mechanics have got to repair these cars overnight, because we've got the double header tomorrow. He got a great start, got ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn, up into second position, took the lead briefly, and was starting to pressure Nick Cassidy towards the end. Honestly, I think Cassidy kind of had it in the bag, especially after this moment, where Van Dorn and Di Grassi and Freintz all had a fight. Van Dorn to the inside. Di Grassi dropped back a place, but in the end, he managed to come back through, get into second place, and pick up what is only his second podium of the season, his first since the second race of the year in Diriyah. So very impressive stuff from Lucas Di Grassi. And the teams and drivers will be heading to the podium in a couple of moments' time for the celebrations to begin. But what an end to that race. Like I say, I've seen plenty of endings to Formula E races. Well, obviously, I've seen the endings of all of them. And I've seen a lot of endings to motor races, but it's been quite a... Never really seen an ending like that. 2003 Brazilian Grand Prix maybe was a little bit similar, but certainly not in a long, long time have we seen such a quick burst, short, sharp shower as well. That was the tough part for the teams and drivers also. Couldn't just couldn't cope with the conditions out there, because the rain came in so fast and heavy. The championship challenge is really interesting too. The way Mortara has just managed to stretch his legs. It's a big, big day tomorrow for Verne and Evans. Not so much Van Dorn, because he's still there second in the championship and in the fight, but for Verne and Evans, tomorrow is going to be absolutely vital to get some big points on the board and not drop further back in the championship fight. So there are the drivers now. They're on the buggy, heading towards the podium. And before the podium gets underway, Dario's on the back there. We can go down and join Radzi.
Sebastian, it'd be lovely just to get a word with yourself here, because what took place was, I've never seen anything like it in Formula E. What happened from your end?
Obviously, it started to rain, and because we are toward the end of the race, the tires are basically slick. It's slick tires, so slick tires on the wet is kind of difficult. And yeah, I think the top 5 lost it on the braking just before the full course yellow, and yeah, was a kind of passenger. So with hindsight, we can say we should have taken more margin, but it's true that the tires are at the end of their life, you know, towards the end of the race. So you can't drive on the rain with those tires.
You guys are engineers as well as drivers. You would know that as soon as the rain comes down, given how much tread we left on the tyre. Was it scary when that started?
Yeah, I tried to ask on the radio to put the safety car, but obviously then things happen quite quickly. So we'll see.
Well, thank you very much for your honesty, mate. Really appreciate that. And I'd obviously love to grab a word with Sam Bird as well. Sam, so much developed so quickly there. It was a remarkable race for so many reasons. Just could you talk through your emotions right now? Because I can obviously see from body language you're pretty gutted.
Yeah, I'm disappointed because obviously if it restarted, I had the chance to win the race. And then it goes back 2 laps. For me, the rules are the rules. I don't, you know, and the people up front, they deserved to. They were doing the best job, but for me, like, if you crash, I don't see how you can then be on the podium or get more points. So I'm yeah, struggling with that right now.
Well, you've articulated it very well. Can you take any solace from the fact that you do actually have points today?
Not particularly. I've got points in the last 4 races, but I've got very, very little points. So I was looking forward to getting some big ones today. Obviously, that's not the case, and we move on to tomorrow.
We do indeed. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Thank you, Sam. Now we can hand over to Jack, who's also catching up with these drivers in what is an absolutely unbelievable race.
Yeah, I'm just here, Radzi. How's it going? You all right? I'm with Edoardo Mortara. Edo, I mean, well, first of all, the ending. I mean, I can't believe how you just spun it around and carried on.
I was so lucky. I just aquaplaned for, I don't know, like 200, 250 meters, and then I thought I was going to eat the 2 cars in front and actually maybe hurt someone, and then yeah, put my foot on the brake, managed to stop, and decided actually to floor the throttle and to turn it around. I was extremely unlucky actually to be able to continue.
Overall, though, a 5th place finish is really, really strong, because the early stages, you and Nick actually were having a nice fight, 9th, 10th, and then the second half of the race, you really started making progress.
It was a very, very, very strange race for me. As you said, the first part wasn't great, but we did that a little bit on purpose, trying to save some energy, and we did use it actually in the second part of the race with the attack mode. And I believe that if we would have stayed actually dry, maybe we could have, I don't know, maybe we could have maybe tried to catch the cars in front of me, in front of us. Nevertheless, P5 after starting P9 here, where it's very tricky to overtake, it's a very good result.
So what happens for tomorrow? Because obviously qualifying was a little bit tough. I mean, you only just missed out, but are there things you can change on for qualifying tomorrow?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a track that for some reasons I always kind of like struggle. And so yes, we will for sure try to analyze and try to improve for tomorrow. But it's, yeah, we have our difficulties here. And therefore, 10 points today is mega. It's my first points that I'm scoring actually here. It's the first year I'm scoring points. So that's good. And hopefully tomorrow will be even better.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. So that is Edoardo Mortara, still the championship leader. In fact, Josh, let's just go out into the pit lane, shall we, and see what we've got out here, because you can see all the drivers now are making their way back down the pit lane, and they're all going to be having a bit of a conflab and a conversation. Let's just grab Gary Paffett here. Gary, he is the team manager at Mercedes, a racing driver as well. That was quite chaotic towards the end.
Yeah, I mean the rain has been a bit unpredictable all day really in qualifying as well. It's just you don't see any clouds coming in here; they just pop up because of the humidity. And And that sudden rainstorm was, again, just a surprise for us as much as it was for the drivers. So, you know, they all arrived at turn 6 on the brakes with a massive downpour and they couldn't stop. So it's a pretty horrific accident, to be honest. I mean, it's a lot of damage. Thankfully, they're all okay. Stuff's fine. Yeah, there's a lot of work for the guys to do now because the car's in a bit of a mess.
You're going to be chipping in and helping?
Yes, for sure, yeah. That's why I've got a yellow armband.
All right, well, you better get on with it. Right. Cheers, Gary. Right, Nikki's over at the podium for the top 3.
I am indeed, and I've got to say there is an incredible atmosphere down here. Obviously the conditions have not been ideal, but the fans have been so supportive. It's been amazing to see. Dario, you just had a quick chat with Lucas Di Grassi before he went up onto the podium. What did he say to you?
Well, we were just talking about the incident, and he was referencing something that happened at Le Mans a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago. It was just a wall of water. He said, and we hit it the lap before, and I was saying the conditions are very difficult. The conditions we're aquaplaning, and then the next lap they hit it, and it was even bigger, and it was just this, it was like a boat hitting a wave. And he said they had no control, and you saw it. And there was a shot from turn 7 back to 6. You saw just the speed at which they went off. So glad to see everybody's okay.
It's not what you want, is it? I mean, you can see Robin Fry's been up. Now Lucas Di Grassi, the man you were just discussing, is going up onto the stage. I mean, in a way, it's a difficult one. The rules are the rules. Sam Bird was clearly disappointed because he's saying, well, if there's a crash, you shouldn't be on the podium. But at the same time, it was the conditions, it was the weather. Normally, maybe the safety car or the yellow flag.
Normally, when a red flag happens, you go back. You do go back to the laps before. That's clear. So that's not, you know, that's normal. And so I think they did the only thing they could.
Well, let's take a look because I feel like the celebration of Nick Cassidy running onto the podium is going to be a rather special one for him. Let's go back to commentary.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Yeah, Nick Cassidy making his way up onto the podium. The top step for the New Zealander for the first time in his Formula E career. High fives all around with Jamie Riegel, with Alberto Longo as well. And finally, he will make his way up onto the top step. And it's been a long time coming. He's had strong results before, but now it will be the New Zealand national anthem for Nick Cassidy on the top step of the podium. We've heard that 3 times already this year for Mitch Evans, now for Nick Cassidy. Nick Cassidy on the top step, the New Zealand national anthem for him, the British national anthem for the Envision team. Another win for them in New York City. That is their 4th on the streets of New York. And now it is time for the trophy presentations. Christine Palialunga, the Vice President of the New York City Economic Development Corporation, hands out the trophy to Silva and Filippi. First win of the year for Envision. In fact, it's the team's first win since the New York City E-Prix back in 2019 in Season 5. Tim Mayer, the director of ACC US, hands out the trophy to the third-place driver, Robin Freitz. Podium finish for him. Envision certainly back on form now, finally, after a tough couple of races. Theodore Schwedramark, who is the Chief Communications and Sustainability Officer, member of the group of the Executive Committee of ABB, hands out the trophy to Lucas de Grassi in second place. Another podium for Rocket Venturi, extending their lead at the top of the Teams Championship. And Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, hands the trophy to Nick Cassidy. His first victory in the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Remarkable performance from Cassidy. It'll be obviously remembered for the chaotic ends, but Cassidy was bossing that race, really doing well. That was Carl Kister, who's a documentary and narrative film producer, handing out the Moet champagne. Cassidy, I'm sure. Selfie complete. Doesn't know what to do with the phone, because I think all he wants to do is, for the first time in his Formula E career, celebrate victory. Nick Cassidy soaks Sylvain Filippi on the top step of the podium, sprays the crowd as well. A lights the flag victory for the New Zealander. It doesn't move him into championship contention. It really helps Envision in the Teams Championship. And as if we need more water in New York City today, the fire boats are spraying the water and the drinks all around. And drinks all around at Envision after quite a remarkable performance and quite a remarkable race here in New York City.
Huge celebrations there for Nick Cassidy, very well deserved. He came into this race feeling confident. He led from pole position. Dario, he had a fantastic start, didn't he?
He really did. I mean, his reactions off the lights, I thought he'd almost jumped to start. A phenomenal start. And then, you know, from then he just absolutely he controlled the race. He didn't get too upset when you know, when Lucas de Grassi went past. He, you know, the ebb and flow of the attack mode strategy, all those type of things. He drove a very controlled race. He's won a lot of different types of races before in the past. This is his first Formula E win. And then the rain came. He's used to racing in Japan, so he's got a lot of experience in these type of conditions. But then this just caught him out, and as it did the other guys. And an unusual way to win a race, really, with the car parked in the barriers. But yeah, absolutely nice to see him getting that first win. Watch the water here as he hits it, and then he's just got no control of the car. And then the worst thing that happens, then you get Lucas de Grassi piling in and all the different other cars, and yeah, that was it.
And that was it, yeah, exactly. And breathe, and breathe. But some incredible celebrations. I can see Sylvain Filippi over in the corner there. Absolutely soaked in champagne. But let's talk about the championship, because Edo Mortara, who's finished P5, has still managed to extend his lead, which is actually, it's fantastic for him.
It was a great recovery. At one point, he looked really bad. I mean, Stoffel van Dorn looked kind of average in the middle of the race, but the recovery from Mortara towards the end, and Stoffel van Dorn, with the way everything worked out, they did not bad under the points today. Mortara 13-point lead. I mean, that's pretty, you know, pretty good after a day like today. They'll be trying to regroup tonight, though. The problem is everybody's up there celebrating. Everybody's got their mind already on tomorrow's race, though, unfortunately.
Well, this is the issue when we're looking at Lucas de Grassi and Nick Cassidy. I mean, so many of the drivers, they've got a lot of work to do on their cars. You know, we get to do this again tomorrow, but how hard are these guys going to have to work to get the car? Well,
the mechanics are going to have to work tonight. Yeah. I mean, the drivers will do their debriefs and head back to the hotel, but the mechanics will be working so hard. But it's the gearbox damage. How damaged is the gearbox? Do you have to replace it? Will you take a penalty replacing some of these parts for tomorrow's race?
Yeah, it's going to be a really tough call and a very busy one for everyone, that's for sure. Ultimately, though, I suppose Nick Cassidy is today's winner. Stoffel van Dorn did a pretty good recovery drive, you know, after what could have been.
No, he did absolutely. That was the type of, him and Edward Mortara did sort of champions drives, call it. But Nick Cassidy, can't take anything away from him and the Envision team. That was a lovely drive to see him get that first win from pole position today. Absolutely textbook stuff. Odd ending, but textbook drive.
Excellent. Well, the good news is after today's madness in New York, we get to do it all over again tomorrow. Fingers crossed this time we won't have any rain. Thank you so much for joining. See you tomorrow.
Formula E is back in Brooklyn.
The ABB New York City E-Prix. And we go green in New York City. Up into second place goes Degrassi. It's Verne facing the wrong way at turn 6. Van Dorn up into second place. Oh, look at it, look at the rain. Yeah, oh, Mortara! They're all off!
The race will not resume.
Nick Cassidy wins the New York City E-Prix.